Broadcasting from the great state of Texas. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Good evening, Lubbock, Amarillo, Abilene, Wichita Falls, Midland, Odessa, Dallas, Fort Worth, down in Houston, over in El Paso, and anywhere else inside or outside the great state of Texas, wherever you may be located on this Friday, February 27th of 2026. Doesn't it feel good that it's a Friday? Going into a beautiful weekend across the Lone Star State. And today, the final day of early voting. The final day of early voting across the state. And boy, it seems like people are getting out and voting today. A lot of folks out there. I was a good voter. I did it. I went out. I voted today. Stood in line for about 40 minutes, which I was like, "What? Oh, this is different for an early vote. I haven't had to wait this long before to cast a ballot, and it's not that there were a bunch of people in front of me. It was." I don't know. I think we need to have more machines at some of these locations. But you had one, like my ballot. It was like 48 pages long. The ballot. So you had that, and then you could tell that some folks in line, they were very confused about the process. So I think we've got some voters who have not voted in a while, which, it always surprises me. It's like when you go to the airport and you see someone who's like, I have to take my shoes off. What is this? Yeah. It's like there were a few people discussing, why do I have to take my ballot and take it over to that machine and put it in that machine after it already takes me? Well, I'm voting over there on that machine, and then I have to take it over here. Why? Why do I have to do that? And you got the election judge and the election workers going, don't worry, it'll be fine. Then you had one machine that had a little flip out, apparently had a little flip out, but everything was fine. Everything was recorded, and it was very interesting just standing there for about 40 minutes and watching, and finally cast my ballot, got it done, and I think the latest thing that I saw was you had over 3,900 people as of 4:30 today vote in Lubbock County alone. That's a big number. And so we're seeing that across the state as people are getting out and voting, both in the Republican and Democrat primaries. The Democrats are having a huge groundswell in voters. Numbers that they haven't really seen since, what was that guy's name who ran in that primary? Barack Obama. And that was a presidential year, which is pretty different than what you see in these midterm years. So, very interesting to see that across the state. How that translates into Election Day, I guess we'll see. But we're seeing numbers very high across the state of Texas. Trump is in Texas today, and he's playing around with the media. He's having fun. He's told the media, yep, I've pretty much decided who I'm going to endorse in the U.S. Senate race, and then says, but I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not yet. Not going to do it. And then when he's on stage down at Corpus Christi, he introduces Ken Paxton. Says Ken Paxton's doing a great job as Attorney General. Then he's like, look at that. We've got John Cornyn's here. John Cornyn's a great U.S. Senator. And then he looks at both of them. He's like, y'all are kind of in a race, aren't you? You're kind of in a little race together. Oh, and then the Trumpster goes, hey, look, there's Wesley Hunt. Hey, look at that. All of you are in a race together. You're all doing a great job. Oh, boy. It's fun. It's fun watching this whole thing play out. We've got a couple of news stories where Cornyn is promising the gloves are coming off. Once we get into the runoff election between him and Ken Paxton, the gloves will come off. And he's going to go really, really after Ken Paxton. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens, if those two actually get into a runoff. There was one poll that came out today that showed Ken Paxton at 43%. That's not too far away. A few people don't vote, or a few votes move this way, that way. Who knows? Could even Ken Paxton win it without a runoff? I doubt it, but he could be, depending on the poll you look at, around 43%. And then you look at the Senate race, and the Senate race is all over the place. The Senate race is all over. You've got on the Democrat side, you'll have one. But this is interesting. The polls that have been done outside the state of Texas have all had Jasmine Crockett leading by about 10 to 12 points. The polls that are done inside of Texas by groups in Texas have had James Tallarico leading by about 10 to 11 points. So what does that mean? We'll find out on Tuesday night who the correct polling agents are out there. So we've got all of that to cover today. We've got a number of candidates who will join us. Coming up here, he's actually just entered the studio. We've got Jordan Rackler who will join us. We've got Jason Corley. He's waiting in the mega green room over there. We've got Kelly Hancock who will join us, running for Texas comptroller. He's actually in Corpus Christi right now listening to the president. So we think if Trump wraps up by 6, which is always an if Trump wraps up by 6, Kelly Hancock will join us, and who knows who else will join us throughout the show today. So, very busy show. We want to hear from you, of course. As always, you can always text in at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. When you text in, give us your name, where you're listening from. That way we can give you the proper shout-out. You can also reach us on social media at Chad Hasty Radio. That's Chad Hasty Radio on social media. And, yes, you can also reach out on the app chat and on the phones at 1-800-687-0790. That's 1-800-687-0790. The first voice you hear from when you dial in today, he did not know that I was going to bring him on, but we have to. We have to bring him on. People love hearing from the guy who's doesn't matter if it's 60 degrees outside, 20 degrees outside, or about 86 degrees outside. He's always wearing that sweater. Nick, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. I'm warm. I'm warm and comfortable.
Yeah, you look cozy.
I feel like I'm getting hugged every day.
Yes, you are.
And boy, it's not disturbing at all.
Yeah.
No, in fact, this weekend it's supposed to be lovely.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the 80s.
I hear, exactly.
Yep.
It's going to be a busy one for me, but I get to stay home.
Well, that's good.
It's a lot of chores.
The chores.
Home projects.
Oh, the home projects.
Exactly. I've got some family coming in.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah.
So we need to you got to always make it look pretty.
Yeah.
You got to make it look like you at least put forth some effort.
Right.
Into living.
Yeah.
A little bit nicer and cleaner. So
that's right.
We want to at least make it look like we're functioning.
Well, that's nice.
Adults.
That's good.
So,
functioning adults.
Functioning. Yeah. A
okay.
little bit. Yeah, so a busy next couple days.
All right.
Getting things ready.
Very good. Well, hopefully it's a relaxing weekend for you.
I'm hoping it'll be a little bit.
A little bit at least.
Fit a little bit of that in
I have no idea. Well, I'm told things.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's
that's
like,
where I am too.
This is what we're going to do. And I'm like, okay, normally we're just chilling, but we may go fishing this weekend. We may just do a quick little fishing trip, just a family, and go out and come back. And so we're kind of looking forward to that.
Do you ever keep what you catch, or is it always you catch and
we
put
do
back?
Mainly catch and release.
Okay.
We do mainly catch and release.
All right.
Yeah, that's where.
I don't know if you do a free dinner. Maybe it's not free, but cook up a little,
right?
Fry up a little fish fry.
Yeah, do a little fish. You know what? Let me say, I'll put it this way. I'll be completely honest.
Please.
If we caught enough, then yeah,
invite some friends.
If the day comes where we catch enough catfish or so, hell yeah. We'll do it again. The times that we've gone out, fully admit here, it's like, well, there's one. Who's going to eat that?
A little minnow.
That's tiny. It's an hors d'oeuvre. That's not good. That won't work. Yeah. And the dogs are just sitting there going, we'll take it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and take the break. When we come back, Jordan Rackler, he's running for re-election. Lubbock County Commissioner. He's in the studio. He brought some eggs by. That's nice. We'll be right back.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Pedal to the metal, greased lightning, burn rubber, make tracks, full gas. Whatever you call it, it's speeding. And a heavy foot can cost you a heavy fine or more. Speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. Slow down, be safe, drive smart, and take it easy. A message from the Texas Department of Transportation.
Cutting through the clutter in a world of endless headlines? We get it, and we're here for you. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO.
Chad Hasty Show. Thank you very much for tuning in today. You can send in your thoughts on any of the issues, any of the campaigns that are out there. Of course, we've been interviewing a lot of different lawmakers and wannabe lawmakers, and joining us in studio, running for re-election, we've got County Commissioner for Precinct 4, Jordan Rackler. Welcome back,
Chad. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess first things first, how's the campaign going?
It's going well. It's I feel like we're making good traction, and we'll find out on Tuesday, but with 3 candidates, we probably will end up in a runoff, and I hope that I'm one of the 2 that get to stay in the runoff.
Well, what is, I mean, you kind of have, right now you've got early voting that's going on. A lot of people are voting in Lubbock County today, it looks like. You've got Election Day coming up on Tuesday. What is, when you've gone, because I know you've been going around talking to folks, what are the things that concern them the most about Lubbock County right now? What are they talking to you about?
There's been a lot of, and I hate to say this about a fellow court member, but I've had a lot of questions about the conflict with removing Commissioner Corley and the judge, and that's, I mean, as you know, we're going after the judge's bond to pay that, but I've that's been brought up a lot. And then now since Monday, the game rooms have came up. I've had more calls today about the game rooms than anything else, because on Monday we had passed that ordinance. We strictened the ordinance a little bit to where they're only going to be open Monday through Friday 8 to 5, and I had got an email that ended up turning into a return phone call about, well, 5 of our employees got laid off. Well, I'm sorry. I've said all along I'm not a game room fan, and nothing good happens at the game rooms after dark. And you have game rooms up the road from you. Yeah, I have people that live close to them that are like, man, I've got a thug in my garage at 2:30 in the morning, and they're people that, quote, get lost going to the game room and they end up in their house. But traffic on Slayton Highway has been congested about them. And whenever we originally passed the ordinance, they said that we would get one game room out of the deal. And I gave it to Commissioner Corley because he seemed to be in favor of the game room ordinance. And I know myself and Precinct 2, both of us were like, you can have our game rooms. We keep them on the east side of town. We don't want them. But game rooms have been strict. And that's, we strickened it up.
I think in most people, it seems, like most residents, it seems, or I think they would be okay with a stricter limit on the game rooms.
I haven't had a resident call me that was not in favor of shutting them down completely.
Yeah.
But I've talked to Carl Tepper a little bit about it and tried to say, hey, can the state help us? And they're a couple years out, but we're doing what we can do to try to enforce and regulate. And without the state's help, it's hard to.
Yeah.
All we can do is.
You think the state would be behind it because they're always complaining about the gaming and unless it's the Texas Lottery, don't forget to play your Texas Lottery. But they're especially the lieutenant governor, very much opposed to expanded gambling in Texas.
My question, I had somebody that had won a lot of money on a $20 bill, and they were like, "Man, I made $1,600 on a $20 bill," and I said, did you get a W-2 or a 1099 filled out? Because if I'm at a casino, they don't hand you the money till you fill it out. And it's like, well, no? Okay. There's your answer.
Yeah.
It's all cash. But we enforce the windows, the window coverings. All windows have got to be open where our law enforcement agencies can see inside and outside. And then we made it to where anybody on the property, on the premises, has got to be registered. So if you're running a food truck in the parking lot, we will have documentation of who's on the property.
Yeah. All right. So y'all made that move recently. Let's kind of move on to the campaign. What are some of your priorities moving forward? If you get reelected, what do you want to do?
Well, reelected or not, we inherited the expo thing, and we're finally moving forward. We've got another meeting on March the 11th. It does look like the county is going to be able to go ahead and move forward with what our plans are right now. But we opened the tag center last week, and then yesterday we had the ribbon cutting ceremony for the medical examiner's office, and they actually had done the first autopsy out there on Wednesday 2 weeks ago. So we've got moved into it. We are doing precinct offices in our offices by 2030. In our precincts. Our offices will have to be in our precincts in 2030. They can't be downtown anymore. And so, but we've got lots of projects going, and trying to just follow through and finish them. One
thing that has been brought up in this race, and maybe even in the race for county judge, is how to pay for everything. How to pay for everything. And when it comes to dipping into reserves.
Well, we did not dip into reserves, and myself and Commissioner Shaw had done a press conference last week. We got the external auditor's information back that audits the county, and no reserve funding was used in 2025. So that was huge news, and I have an opponent that every day is just, that's all he's hammering on is watch this court record, because that's not what the accountant said or the auditor said. And I mean, I showed you, I've got it right here. The external auditors, and we'll run that through court March 23rd. But the judge had stated, and the auditor had stated, there's not enough money, and we all knew that there was going to be enough money. And Corley had been telling me whenever I first got in there, I was like, man, we're broke. We don't have any money. He's like, we're not broke. It's a scare tactic. And I've agreed. This is my third budget to do, and I agree. There's plenty of money. You just have to prioritize where it's going.
So not dipping into reserves.
I mean, that's not good business. And we did the walkout. This is based on the walkouts budget, and I was told, well, you wouldn't do that on your personal business. And I was like, no, but I would let me come in here and try to make some decisions. And when I decided to do the walkout, y'all told me I didn't have an input. So I didn't have an input, but we still didn't hit reserves because they had thinned out the budget enough. And we do have some department heads that are very conservative and know what's right and what's wrong, and they know when they can get their wants, and they know what their needs are. So
yeah. What about, and this has come up in the race, that I guess volunteer fighter, volunteer fire, and then also the sheriff's department has been cut.
So the sheriff's office, all the departments were asked to cut 10%, and the sheriff's office funding came out of county housing, and we have 21 inmates today that are stored out of county, and it was over 100 whenever I got here. But the 10% from the sheriff, we had cut from $3.5 million to $1.4 million, and then the volunteer fire departments, they cut $250,000 out of their critical needs. Their actual contract numbers, their contract money stayed the same, and we are actually in negotiations about trying to raise their contract money or get that critical need money put back in, and I think that'll happen in the next month and a half, pretty easy.
In about 40 seconds, give folks the final pitch.
RacklerForTexas.com, Jordan Rackler for County Commissioner Precinct 4 on Facebook. Vote today before 8 o'clock or Tuesday from 7 to 7. I would appreciate your support, and let's try to keep me in the seat so we can keep it.
All right. Very good. Jordan Rackler.
Thank
good
you.
to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Nick, this is your phone here in the passenger seat. Look at me.
No, I'm driving.
You got a text. It says, "Yo, dude, your friends are fascinating." Let's text them back.
It can wait.
Sports app. Oh, you gotta see this play.
Later.
Hey, you got invited to a party. We need a RSVP now.
Phone, silence yourself.
Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Talk, text, crash. A message from TxDOT.
TSN headlines: President Trump visiting Texas today to promote American energy dominance. He spoke at the port of Corpus Christi. 2 nearby oil refineries can process heavy crude, which is the type of oil exported by Venezuela. The president says the U.S. has received 80 million barrels of crude since the U.S. took control of Venezuela's oil exports earlier this year. The top 3 GOP candidates for Senate hoping the president's trip to Texas will help push their campaign into victory on Tuesday. 90% of Republican primary voters in Texas have a favorable opinion of Donald Trump, and more than half say they would vote for a candidate that he endorses. LULAC in Houston is canceling this year's Cinco de Mayo parade. They say the decision was made after careful consideration by the parade committee in response to growing concerns surrounding ICE enforcement activity and its potential impact on the safety and well-being of participating families. And with your Texas news headlines, I'm Barbara Schwartz.
The Texas Comptroller is the chief financial officer of the world's 8th largest economy. Governor Abbott knows Kelly Hancock will keep the Texas economy booming. Comptroller Kelly Hancock protected your tax dollars and worked with Governor Abbott to fund President Trump's border wall. That's why Governor Abbott trusts Kelly Hancock.
This is Governor Greg Abbott. Results matter. That's why I endorse Kelly Hancock for Texas Comptroller. There is no one I trust more. Vote Kelly Hancock.
Kelly Hancock's opponent, Don Huffines, talks a big game, but his record tells a different story. His plans would trigger massive tax hikes. Huffines opposes property tax relief, calling it fool's gold. No wonder Huffines used his fortune to fund liberal Democrats. Texas can't afford the risk. Vote for the conservative Abbott-Hancock team. Greg Abbott for governor, Kelly Hancock for comptroller.
Political ad paid for by Texans for Greg Abbott.
South Lanes weather forecast forecast on this Friday evening as temperatures are dropping overnight tonight near 48 degrees to start your Saturday. Saturday temperatures at 85 degrees, temperatures well above average, near record high temperatures expected. This temperature drop again in the lower 50s by Sunday. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Robert to Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
Live local talk on Sundays, Reason, Religion, and Reality, a radio project of the Constitutionalist Society, LLC. Sundays from noon to 2 on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO and the KFYO app.
The news and talk of West Texas, News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Don't forget about Chad. Find Chad on social media at Chad Hasty Radio on X and Instagram. It's The Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. It's Candidate Day here on what's been Candidate Week on the Chad Hasty Show, as we have had a lot of candidates through, and that's good because, well, a lot of folks still deciding who they're going to vote for, and candidates out there hoping to get some folks to change minds or influence people one way or the other. And joining us in studio right now, he's running for Texas 19 in that 7-person race in the Republican primary. One of the very few House races, by the way, in the state of Texas that Donald Trump has not endorsed anyone. And I think that's important to remember, that Trump has not endorsed anyone in this race. And it's this race and the race between Dan Crenshaw and Toth. Those are the two races that Trump has kind of stayed away from, other than the Senate race. And Jason Corley, welcome back.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Chad. Yeah, you know, the conversations that my camp has had with the White House is that Trump is not going to endorse in this race.
Really?
Well, I mean, but, you know, one thing I've learned about this, this race for sure, is it doesn't have to be true for you to say it. Just throw it out there. Claim to be endorsed by whoever, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just say anything you want. Make fake groups on Facebook, make, little cartoons, do whatever you like. It's fine. It's fine.
It's certainly been an interesting race out there. I mean, what... You've done this before, obviously, and not just for county commissioner, but I mean, you've run for Texas 19, before I think that was your first race ever.
Yeah,
was
the first time I got involved in politics was, but that's I mean, most people don't get involved in politics until their government starts jacking with them. And, Affordable Health Care Act, which was neither affordable or health care, is what got me off the fence. And I was 32.
Well, you kind of see that in this race. One of the candidates in there very upset with the government, and that spurred him to run for office. So, you just never know. This race compared to some of your other, I mean, is there a comparison between this race and some of the others? I mean, besides the actual getting out and, meeting people part, that's kind of
this thing has just been strange. That, and, I've been involved in campaigns for the last 10 years now, and it's just interesting how much stuff has shifted. TV used to be everything. Oh, you had to be on TV. Nobody watches TV anymore. I mean, I know I don't. I'm on YouTube or streaming service if I'm on anything. Most of us are getting our news off of Facebook. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I watched Fox News. Now, I've seen clips of it, plenty, on social media. But yeah, Twitter has thrown in a whole new dynamic in there. But at the end of the day, the average age for a Republican voter is 65.
Well, and Twitter's not real. And I think that's something that candidates have to kind of remember. I mean, if you look at Twitter, and maybe it's just the algorithm that I'm stuck in, but Aaron Reitz is going to win the Texas Attorney General's race without a runoff, and I can tell you the polling that's out there, that ain't going to happen. And so, but I mean, if you and Doc Peterson is really close to Greg Abbott. If you
on
Twitter,
on Twitter, on Twiddle, but
in the real world, that's not true. And so I think candidates have to be a little bit careful of that. And I still think, you go back, you've got ads, here on talk radio. I think there's some of these that are tried and true, and they still stick with the voters who are going to get out and vote. There's still areas where you can target them, and they're known.
Yeah, people still answer their phones. People still answer the doors a lot of times. People, when you get in your car, you turn your radio on. You still do that, and I mean, I don't know many people, and some do, most don't. You don't hop in your car, get on your phone, set up whatever you're going to listen to, and you take off. Most people hit the button on the dial, and they go. So, the drive time's important. So, glad you're having me on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so just kind of go through and tell folks, again, we're kind of getting down to it. You got till 8 p.m. to get out and vote today. Mm-hmm. You've got early voting that ends today. You've got election day on Tuesday. What is it that you want to do? You've kind of stood out in some of these campaigns as, you're pro-Trump, but yes, there's also some areas of disagreement with Trump. I think you brought up Tom Massey as the guy that you would I don't know if replicate's the right word.
Yeah.
He and Trump get sideways quite a bit. I mean, for those who kind of look at Massey and go, "Ooh, I don't know about that." What do you say to them?
I don't know that Donald Trump respects people that don't argue with him. So that's what I would say. The other thing too, what are they disagreeing on? With Massey and Trump disagreeing, let's see, foreign aid, and the other big one has always been the Epstein files. And but what I like about Trump is that if he gets it wrong and he realizes it, I mean, he will turn and go the other direction on stuff. So. He came out and said, "Well, y'all, the Epstein files, y'all are still on this," and I understand why he said it. He's like, "I'm trying to sort out tariffs. We're trying to fix this. I'm fixing that. I'm doing all these things. You guys are worried about that guy? I mean, you know how long he's been dead for? How long now? That was Trump's point, but." It's something the American people care about. It's something that does matter because not everybody in the Epstein files is dead. I mean, we've seen other countries. Who was it? Who's that prince that got dethroned? The brother of the king of England or whatever. Yeah, that guy's in handcuffs. I figured he'd be lucky to be working at Starbucks when this thing was over with. So, I mean, he got dethroned or decrowned, whatever. He's not part of the royal family anymore. So, So, I mean, he's gone. But, that I would, wow. Okay. I mean, that would, I wish Kash Patel would jump on that and get something moving. That'd be great. Pam Bondi really could have stepped up and, shined for the American people. But, at the end of the day, we care about all these other things that Trump's working on, but those Epstein files, that's a problem. I mean, you've got, a bunch of wealthy child molesters that are running our country. That's kind of the way it comes across.
Well, and as a congressman, I'm not sure what you can do about it, other than press and continue to bring it up.
But if Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene, if they hadn't have brought that to the floor, because that's the thing about it, though. You get it out there for a vote and make people vote on it. Well, now you're going to have to stand up or sit down on whether or not you support this or not. Well, that's the only reason it got passed. If those two hadn't done what they did, I mean, we wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I've had to work I've had to fight out of the corner on the commissioner's court. Just because you're a Republican doesn't mean you're a conservative. So, I know how to do that. I mean, when I'm not in the majority, I can still get things done. And that's important because you got to remember, it's going to flip flop. It's going to go back and forth. So even if you're not in the majority, you still got to be able to get things done. And I've done that before. I'm the only candidate with a record.
I want to ask you, when it comes to the county commissioner's court, not everybody on the court is endorsed. I don't think they've endorsed.
Some people had good sense not to.
But you have had one of your fellow conservatives on the commissioner's court who endorsed one of your opponents. I mean, why? For the voter who goes, "Well, wait a minute, if you can't get your buddies around you to endorse you, why should the average voter out there?"
Well, what makes you think they're my buddies? That and I mean, why would you expect a county commissioner who's been in office or been involved in politics for all of 6 months to, or maybe a year?
It seems like y'all are pretty good friends. Pretty
try to work
pretty
with
chummy,
people, and then they come out and do something like this. You're like, okay, but here's my question: what was he promised? That's my question.
Do you think he was promising anything?
Oh yeah, I know he was. So
what was he promised?
Support in his next campaign. With his getting the Hispanic vote out for his next campaign. That's what he was promised. So I'm kind of like, okay, good luck with that one.
Yeah.
But, when new commissioners have gotten on the court, I was like, hey, look, your next campaign starts today. you got 3 years to prove to the voter that they made the right choice. So, your actions are going to do it. And I mean, my first term, I busted my butt, fought every fight I had to. And you know what? Nobody wanted to run against me. I mean, I didn't have a Republican Party challenger. Like, all right, yeah, you know what? Keep him in there. He's doing a good job. So to me, that's telling about, whether you're doing a good job or not. When nobody even bothers to run against you, yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Do you think you're getting enough credit running in this race as the only guy who's actually been elected to office?
Oh man, we will see on election day.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I'm just
I
asking
hope
your
that
gut
carries
feeling.
out. This whole race has been so strange. I mean, everything is up, down, left, and right. Stuff that made sense doesn't. I mean, it's just everywhere and all over the place in every different direction. I don't know what to say. I can tell you this much. Anybody that tells you they think they know what's going on in this race is either lying a fool, or they're trying to sell you something. So, yeah, it's going to be one of the three or a combination of all of them. So
you had one of the more unique answers, and maybe you may have been the only one. I can't remember exactly.
That's usually
but
the case.
During the debate, when it came to Iranian strikes or a U.S. striking Iran.
Yep.
I think there were a couple others who said, well, we don't want to get in a forever war. We don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. But we trust Trump. We trust Trump when it comes to airstrikes. We trust Trump. Mm-hmm. It sounded like you took a different approach to it, which was we don't need to get involved, period.
Man, I'm a Rand Paul guy. And, that part of the world, those people have been fighting each other for 2,000 years. And they're going to fight each other for another 2,000 years. I don't even know why we bother to mess with that part of the world. We have enough oil. We have more than enough oil. We actually have the technology to develop it. Hell, we export the technology that does it. Yeah, I mean, I've just watched this nonsense go back and forth. And then having worked in the oil field, you remember when, Saddam went into Kuwait? What was funny was I remember working with an old directional driller that told me this. I never knew it before. He said, yeah, the Kuwaitis were stealing his oil. You know how I know? I drilled the wells. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I was over there in the 80s. We drilled into their right underneath the border. They said the guy he was justified. They were stealing from him. But I do my homework. I read my history. Afghanistan was always known as the place where empires go to die, meaning nobody ever kept it. Nobody ever took it. And, every empire, all the way back to Alexander the Great, that's where they stall out. But, I study this stuff. I read up on it. History is the best predictor of the future. So when you start looking at this stuff, why do we keep fighting with Tehran? I mean, what's this all over with? And it's over Israel. So then when you start watching, okay, we're going to have a ceasefire, who fires off the rocket? When you're like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be our ally. Why are you dragging us into more nonsense? So, yeah, I pay attention to this stuff. I do my research. Well, I had a radio show for a year where, made it a good faith effort to, you do this every day to provide your listener with something worth listening to. And a lot of times that means doing, actually studying, doing your homework and knowing what you're talking about. But if I'll do that for you as a radio host, what am I going to do for you in Congress? Well, I'm going to do that and then some. Yeah. But I've always been a Ron Paul guy. I always thought he was great. Ron Paul was, the majority of his voters were veterans too. So, what's the best way to help our veterans? We'll stop making veterans. Some of these wars, why are we there again? Yeah. We get a few years down the road, we start asking these questions, and you're like, wait a minute, huh? But that's the other thing too. And it was a personal question for me because my son's 19. So, yes, like I'd said, you're not asking me, should we go to war with Iran? You're asking me, is it worth my son's life? And the answer is no. And I've got candidates up there that never had children, don't have children. And, it's really easy to commit to a war when it's somebody else's kid. Hell, Congress has been doing that for years.
Yeah. Let's take the break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Jason Corley, running in the Republican primary for Texas 19. Kelly Hancock will join us at 6:05. We'll be right back.
In the morning, see you live, Rosanna.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
When I'm driving, I look twice for motorcycles. I look twice because motorcycles are easy to miss.
I look twice just in case a motorcycle's in my blind spot.
I look twice at intersections and before I turn left.
I look twice because I want to know for sure.
I look twice for motorcycles because I don't want to hurt anyone.
Look twice for motorcycles. There's a life riding on it. A message from Texas Department of Transportation.
Hey, it's Chad Hasty inviting you to join us on Tuesday, March 3rd from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. for the March 3rd Town Square media coverage of the Republican and Democrat primary results elections. That's right. On March 3rd, it's election night, and we'll be taking you through all the results that'll be pouring in across the Lone Star State and how those results will matter coming up in November for the midterm elections. There's a lot of big races out there, including that big U.S. Senate race. Who's going to be the next Attorney General nominee for the Republicans, and what's going to happen on down ballot races across the state of Texas? Will Democrats be enthusiastic about voting? What about Republicans? We'll talk about it all and get your thoughts as well, and we'll hear from candidates as well. So join us 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. for election night coverage on this radio station.
After 98 years, we're still on the air. This is News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO.
Back on the Chad HD Show. We've got Commissioner Jason Corley. He's in studio. He's running for Texas 19 and in the Republican primary. And of course, we've been talking about some of the issues of the day. Let's say you get elected and you head to Congress. Top three priorities. What are they?
Oh, top three priorities.
Yeah.
First rattle out of the box. Best number one biggest problem America's got right now is going to be managing our inflation, getting the Fed under control. So that's number one thing we've got to do. Number two, we're going to start looking at the tariffs, the way that we're going about doing these things, and making sure that if we're going to put the tariffs in place, that we've got some short-term answers. One, for the oil field, we can't get tubulars right now, or we can, but they're ungodly expensive, and that's created a problem. Number three, ag inputs. This is a big effect on that. We've created a lot of protectionist markets for input sellers like potash, but I've been hearing all about potash this entire time. Okay, so we're fighting it out with the Canadians. Well, that's fine. You can go to Morocco and get potash. Their government will actually sell it to us, but we've got some we put some tariffs in place to make sure that potash is more expensive to get from them than it is from American suppliers. That's a joke. Our farmers need this. Drop the price down. If the American government, if we're not going to give our farmers a guaranteed cash price on commodity crops, then we need to stop interfering in their market. Then,
how do you get that done? If Trump wants the tariffs on, how do you get that done?
Well, if he wants to keep fighting with Canada, that's fine. But here's the thing about it. If you want to drive down the price, introduce more free market into the free market. Just allow the Moroccan potash to be brought into America. Get rid of Morocco's tariffs and keep Canada's high. Bring it in. Let's go. That'll help.
Okay. Is there? You got another one? You got
price of oil. Okay, so the price of oil is low right now. We it's really not helping our economy. So gas is cheap, but if nobody can afford to drive anywhere, what's it matter? So the gas needs oil needs to stay between. It really needs to be between about $75 and about $85. That way, it's not too expensive at the pump. You can still drive your SUV, and your American oil industry is still doing pretty good. People are working. It's not crazy. It's not a boom. We need to be doing that. One of the best ways that we can do that, if you want to enter in a little bit of stability into that market, Biden sold off the strategic reserve for oil, so that's a problem, militarily. So we need to be refilling that. So anytime if the price of oil is, is getting really low, it's starting to hurt our producers. Okay, start refilling. Okay, makes sense. Buy cheap, sell high. The price of oil gets really high. Okay, we can sell off some of that oil to bring in the strategic reserve to bring that price down a little bit to try to keep us in a range. You could use that and have a little bit of flex there.
Got about a minute left. Give folks the final pitch as to why they should vote for Jason Corley in the Texas 19 race.
Well, Chad, one thing I haven't told that I haven't said yet is, the best reason to vote for me is I'll give you my cell phone number. It's 806-577-9778. You got a question? Give me a call. The other place that you can go get information on my campaign is Jason Corley for Texas, all spelled out, .com.
All right. Jason Corley, Republican primary, Texas 19. You still have a couple hours to vote out there. And then, of course, Election Day on Tuesday. Jason, good to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Chad.
You bet. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and more.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.
Drive home with Chad Hasty at 5. Then at 7 p.m., listen to Mark Levin at home on your Alexa device. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO, KFYO, and K236CP Lubbock, and on the KFYO app.
It's 6 o'clock in Texas.
Tensions rising. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump says Iran won't make a nuclear deal as military pressure builds on the regime.
The president says he is not happy with where Iran nuclear negotiations stand.
They just don't want to. They don't want to say the key words, we're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They have to say, we're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
President Trump also does not want to see Iran develop a civilian nuclear program.
And they just can't quite get there. They want to enrich a little bit. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil.
The president has ordered a massive military buildup in the Middle East and is threatening military action if diplomacy fails, but told reporters he won't say how close he is to deciding on strikes.
Fox's Jared Halper at the White House. The State Department again saying any Americans who are in Iran should leave immediately. The president traveled to Corpus Christi, Texas this afternoon to push his economic agenda days after the State of the Union address. And he encouraged the crowd to be sure to get out and vote in November's midterms.
We brought this country back. We don't want to lose the midterm. We got to win the midterms. We got to get out. You got to get out, or we got to vote, and we'll keep it all going. Better even than it is now, as good as it is.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is challenging Republican Senator John Cornyn for the nomination. The president hasn't said who he will back. Former President Bill Clinton has testified before the House Oversight Committee behind closed doors about his connections to Jeffrey Epstein.
Fox confirms that Bill Clinton told lawmakers he did not know the identity of the woman with whom he was photographed in a jacuzzi. Fox is told a Secret Service agent was with them. In his opening statement, the former president contends he had, quote, no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. He added, quote, I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong.
Fox's Chad Pergram in Chappaqua, New York. America's listening to Fox News.
Local events, newsmakers, and information. It's Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Coming up Monday morning on Sunrise LBK. Friday's the last day for early voting. We'll look at the totals. And Election Day coming up on Tuesday. Matt Crow back in the house on Monday. Ambassador Naj at 7 a.m. And Ryan Hyatt with the Weekend Sports Rewind. All coming up with Sunrise LBK in the morning. Tom Collins and Matt Crow on the news and talk of West Texas. Sunrise LBK on KFYO.
Sunrise LBK with Tom Collins and Matt Crow, weekday mornings at 6 a.m. on KFYO.
South weather forecast on this Friday evening as temperatures are dropping overnight tonight near 48 degrees to start your Saturday. Saturday temperatures at 85 degrees. Temperatures well above average. Near record high temperatures expected as temperatures drop again in the lower 50s by Sunday. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Roberts of Lubbock's official weather station. News Talk KFYO.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, news and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790 or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty.
Final hour of the program. We welcome you back to the Chad Hasty Show. Thank you for tuning in today. You can send in your thoughts on the text line at 806-680-2790. You can also reach out on the phones, 1-800-687-0790. And yes, tap the app. Send us a message that way on your Friday. We hope you're having a wonderful day, getting ready for a beautiful weekend out there. If you've missed any of our interviews today with any of the political candidates that we've had on, just like in other shows, go back and listen to the podcast, the Chad Hasty Show podcast, available right after the show on Spotify and on Apple Podcast and other platforms as well. Joining us right now to discuss his primary campaign for Texas Comptroller, we've got Kelly Hancock joining us here once again here on the program. And welcome back, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well. I know you've been. Are you still in Corpus Christi? Or are you?
I'm still in Corpus. Yeah, we just wrapped up. In fact, got here at the FBO and got to watch Air Force One and President Trump take off, and we're going to be right behind them.
Very nice.
It's a great day. And an incredibly busy week.
It looked like there were a lot of people having a lot of fun down in Corpus as the president came in and made a visit and talked about some of the at least mentioned a few of the candidates out there. Tell folks just again about the Texas Comptroller's race. This is a race that has really not been as much in the spotlight as, let's say, the Senate race that's out there. Tell them why this campaign matters. Why does it matter who the comptroller is?
Yeah, Chad, that's a question I get a lot is, so what do you do? Well, from a business standpoint, which is my background, the easiest thing to recognize is it is a chief financial officer for the state. All revenue estimates, which tells the legislature how much money they can spend, come through our office. All contracts, all procurement or purchasing agreements, or those rules and all are written in our office. All grants, the rural law enforcement grant. We were out in the Lubbock area not too long ago with those rural law enforcement grants that help with personnel or equipment needs in that area. And then what we started in January were the ICE sheriff grants. So where our sheriff's offices have joint agreements with ICE to address illegal immigration, we provide some funding that came through from the legislature on that. So, and then of course, the school choice Texas Education Freedom accounts came through our offices a lot. So it is very important office, and obviously we're in charge of your tax dollars and operate with transparency and accountability in that office.
What separates you from everybody in this race?
I've been doing the job for 8 months. I'm the only one that's done the job and has a track record of results, versus the rhetoric you're going to hear from my opponents. And, everything from getting rid of DEI, not just in our offices, but it's across all state contracts so that we're not giving any prioritization based on race or ethnicity. And so launching the school choice program where we made certain that not a single taxpayer dollar went to foreign adversaries or entities that were connected to terrorist organizations. We're running it like a business. I mean, we've put out on our website where you can track exactly how the state's doing, and then transparency, and we're operating now at the speed of business. So, in 8 months, in fact, Governor Abbott, who's endorsed our campaign, he's the one that asked me to come and run this office. He says, we've already accomplished in 8 months what it takes others years to do. And so we've got a proven track record versus, the rhetoric that you're going to hear from others that haven't been doing the job. And I'm going to be in the job, for another 10 months and want to hold it for another 4 years.
Yeah. visiting with Kelly Hancock, running the Republican primary for Texas Comptroller. One of your, I guess I could say, main opponents in the race talks about and has really talked a lot about just doging Texas and the Texas Comptroller's office. What exactly does that mean? Is that something you can do? What is? I mean, is he approaching the office wrong when he talks about that? What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure he understands what the office does. There is a Texas DOGE. It's what we call TRIO, Texas Regulatory Efficiency Office. It's under the governor's office, just like the DOGE was under President Trump. Our Texas DOGE is under Governor Abbott, and Governor Abbott has asked me to serve on that DOGE committee. But Chad, I was chair of business and commerce for years, and we've done that. I spent 5 years as a chair making sure we got regulations. I am a small business owner. I own a distribution company, and we make sure that we got government out of the way. For example, with restaurants, we're struggling. We created what's called, people refer to Margaritas to Go, to help our restaurants who are struggling. We got rid of regulations so that if you need a notary, you can do it online now. If you need to sign a will, you can do it online. So I spent 5 years dozing the state, and now the governor has enough confidence in me, not just to run this office, but to serve on that Texas DOGE committee. And we've had 3 meetings already, and we'll have progress, but it's not out of the comptroller's office. That's just a good catchphrase, which Chad, know me a long time. I'm a lot more about getting the work done and results versus rhetoric that you hear on a campaign trail.
Yeah. When you look at again, school choice, it's obviously something that we're well underway now in parents who are applying for school choice. It's being run out of your office, correct? Out of the office
Correct.
of the Texas Comptroller. How massive is this? This program and getting this, getting everything lifted off the ground. I mean, how massive is this?
So, we started in September, and we had to have providers registered by December. We have to open it up for students and families to have that education freedom in February. So, Chad, is a lot like when I started my own business, and we had to move at a business pace, a business speed, not the way government typically moves slowly. And, we are Texas. So my charge to the team was, we want the best program in the country. We want to set records. We want ease of access. We want to treat everyone involved in this that's looking for education freedom accounts. We want them to know that they're a customer of ours. And so we created a program that, frankly, you can register in 3 minutes or less, that we protect your tax dollars to know that there are not a single penny will go to a foreign adversary or a terrorist-linked organization through some of our Muslim schools. And so great protections, but also a great program, a good service where we recognize who the customers are and we provide great we have, you can chat, you can ask questions about it on educationfreedom.texas.gov. And really, you'll feel like you're doing business with a very, very good business, not government.
Yeah. Kelly Hancock running for Texas Comptroller in the Republican primary. Tell folks, give them about that final pitch to the voters out there who are maybe still going to go and vote today. Maybe they're going to wait till Tuesday. What's your final pitch to them?
Hey, look, if you want results, then we're your candidate. I mean, we've already accomplished, as Governor Abbott has said, who has endorsed our campaign, and I've been spending the last 2 weeks from him. In fact, Chad, this week, we literally have gone from Texarkana to El Paso and every place in between. That's how much Governor Abbott wants to make sure that I'm in that office. Look, it's the chief financial officer for the state, and the chief executive officer for the state, Governor Greg Abbott, has personally chosen me, feels like I'm the best candidate for the job by far, and has invested his time, energy, and effort and his resources in our campaign. And we want your vote. And it is Kelly Hancock for the Comptroller's office, and I'd love to have your vote. Love West Texas. As you know, I've got family out there, and look, that's the heart of Texas.
Absolutely. Kelly Hancock, as always, it's good to hear from you. Best of luck out there, and I'm sure we'll visit again in the future.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you getting me in, Chad.
You bet. Absolutely. That's Kelly Hancock running for Texas Comptroller in the Republican primary. We'll be right back.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, The Chad Hasty Show.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page on KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Heads up, Texas.
So you don't hit my car when I'm sitting at a stoplight.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can ride my bike safely.
Heads up, Texas.
So I can make it across the street without getting run over.
Heads up, Texas.
So I don't have to write you a ticket.
Heads up, Texas. Because driving and using your phone is a bad combination. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
Wake up with local news, weather, and your opinions. Sunrise LBK, weekday mornings from 6 to 8:30. News Talk, KFYO.
Reason, Religion, and Reality, Sundays at noon on KFYO.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Appreciate you being here today. You can send in your thoughts on the text line, 806-680-2790. Just a reminder, on election night, we'll be on the air until 10 p.m. Election night coverage. Sponsored by Williams Brake Tune and Tire, along with AS Dent Repair. Bringing you live coverage of the 2026 Republican and Democrat primary results. Yeah, we'll be really, we're not going to be focused on a lot of the Democrat results, but at least the Senate results will be focused on for the Democrats. And then, of course, we'll be taking a look across the state, obviously, throughout the Panhandle, down into the South Plains, Big Country, and just really around the state. There's going to be, there's so many Republican races that we're going to be keeping up with, and what's happening around the state that we want you to tune in. And we'll bring you, of course, commentary and results, and we'll be visiting with some of the lawmakers and candidates who are out there. And, of course, we do invite you to tune in. It'll be myself. It'll be Ken Corbin and Matt Crow as well. And I found this out today. Of course, the back home on KFYO. Nick, how about this? I was informed earlier by Mr. Ken Corbin himself, 28 years of election night coverage. That 28 straight years of election night coverage. That's pretty good. And so again, it's just it all continues here on KFYO and of course Town Square Media and the station that you're listening to us on. You get to be part of the fun as well. We'll be paying attention, obviously, to the races in the Panhandle and the Big Country over at Wichita Falls and beyond as well. 806-680-2790. So the Trumpster, before he boarded the plane, before he boarded Air Force One, Nick, do you know where the Trumpster went? Do you know? You have any idea? He stopped off at Whataburger. Because if you're in Texas, where are you going to stop at? You're going to stop at Whataburger, right there in Corpus Christi. And there's a picture. Ted Cruz tweeted it out. It's a pretty good picture. It has the Beast. You know what the Beast is, don't you? Yeah, it's the limo. And it has the Beast sitting right there in front of Whataburger. But that's going to take some time to go through the drive-thru. Trump actually went in and he met the manager and the whole staff. He bought everybody inside the Whataburger burgers. Yeah, he's like, Ladies and gentlemen, I love Whataburger. Everybody here is getting a free burger. Whichever one, that's good. And then he asked the manager, how long have you been working? 30 years. 30 years as manager. Shook her hand, congratulated her. Yeah, everyone having a great time. And the president throwing bags of burgers around as he got ready to get on board Air Force One. So, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty nice. Bruce Lavelle, by the way, former Trump campaign senior advisor, tweeting back at me, hey, Steak and Shake is great too. No, don't come at me with Steak and Shake if you're in Texas. No. Come on now. Don't come at me with Steak and Shake. Try to compare. Steak and Shake is fine. All right? You want a Steak and Shake, that's fine. That's okay. But let's not try to compare a Steak and Shake burger to a Whataburger. No. Can't do that. Let's see. In that Senate race in the Republican side, ooh, John Cornyn's mad, folks. He's mad. He's angry. There's actually a really good piece out in Politico where it's the reporter, who is it, Jonathan Martin, followed John Cornyn around for a day and kind of came to the same conclusion. I was part of a panel discussion for the New York Times. They brought together some Republicans. There were a handful of conservatives. And they brought some people together to discuss the Senate race. And I was very reluctant at first to do it. I was very reluctant. It's the New York Times. And I was very reluctant to do it. But I did so. And they quoted me correctly, so I got to give them credit. I recorded the entire conversation. It was like a 4-hour conversation, a little group panel that we had. And in the panel discussion, they asked me, oh, do you think John Cornyn's running a good race? And I said, yeah, for 2001, I think he's running a really good race. But for 2026, not so much, no. But for 2001, it's a really good campaign for John Cornyn. And in this piece from Jonathan Martin, he kind of goes through, and he's like, you can tell this is a Republican of a bygone era. This John Cornyn. He's still that Bush, old school Republican guy. And he doesn't have that fighter instinct. He doesn't have that fight in him that you see Trump and some of these other Republicans have, which is what I have been saying for a while now, which is this is why Republican primary voters who don't like John Cornyn, this is part of the reason why. It's because he's not that guy who's going to take off the gloves. He's the guy who's going to say, my friends on the other side of the aisle. A lot of Republican primary voters don't want you to say that. They want to hear it. They don't want to be entertained by that idea. The idea of, in the Senate, we have this sense of decorum where we all come together at the end of the day and we get along and slap each other on the back. No. It is. Oh, some people are going to hate me for saying this. I know. We're on an all-out war for the soul of this country. When you're looking at the left moving towards communism, just look at Mamdani in New York, by the way. AOC, some of the most popular figures on the left are the ones who are the so-called Democrat socialists. They're communists, but they don't want to call themselves communists just yet. Because that word's still a little bad, and there's still some kids coming out of grade school who understand what a communist is. Not a lot, but some. So Democrat socialist is what they say. But those are the Democrats who are the most popular nationwide. So we don't want a Republican going, hey, my friends on the other side of the aisle, they're not your friends. They're not supposed to be. They're not my friend. They don't like me. They don't like me. They don't like you. They hate Donald Trump. If you're a Trump supporter, they hate you. They've insulted Trump supporters all over the place. Every twist and turn you make, they've insulted Trump supporters. So when people look at Ken Paxton, when people look at Wesley Hunt, when people look at John Cornyn, I think, again, the average primary voter out there, they want someone who they believe is going to go to Washington, D.C. and is going to fight for them. It's going to be a fighter in Washington. Anyway, we'll get into that story. I'm going to hold it over until Monday because we have some guests Monday, but we're not covered up like we are today. Not yet, anyway. Because it's a big insight into the thinking and the movements of John Cornyn. You can view that story over at Politico. The New York Times opinion piece, it came out yesterday. It was very well done, I thought. They quoted me correctly, so I was happy about that. All right, we'll be right back on the Chad Hasty Show.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Out here in the middle of all these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on Earth. And sometimes, that's how it feels when you're going through tough times. Trouble sleeping, your mind racing. So what do? We get help. There are people in our community who are here for us. Sometimes, just talking to someone can make all the difference in the world. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Weather forecast on this Friday evening as temperatures are dropping overnight tonight near 48 degrees to start your Saturday. Saturday temperatures at 85 degrees, temperatures well above average, near record high temperatures expected. This temperature drop again in the lower 50s by Sunday. Weather is brought to you by Sonic and the American Smashers. I'm meteorologist Ron Robert to Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk KFYO.
This is House Call for Health. February is National Cancer Prevention Month. The American Association for Cancer Research says the government estimated around 2 million Americans were diagnosed with cancer in 2025. That's other than non-melanoma skin cancer, and more than 618,000 died. But 40% of those cases could be attributed to preventable causes, like excess weight, smoking, and physical inactivity. The association says nationwide initiatives aimed at reductions in cancer morbidity and mortality have helped in the past, citing as an example initiatives aimed at reducing tobacco use, leading to a decline in smoking from more than 42% of adults in 1965 to less than 12% in 2022. They also note that certain segments of the population have a disproportionately higher burden of preventable cancer risk factors, including ethnic minorities and other medically underserved people. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health, I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Ted Cruz here. Tune in to KFYO every Sunday at 11 for Verdict with Ted Cruz. But stick around for Reason, Religion, and Reality at noon, followed by the best of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, right here on the news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO.
Empowering West Texas with news that matters. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO.
From the Panhandle to the South Plains to the Big Country, it's the Chad Hasty Show.
All right, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. And we have one more candidate in the studio. If you've missed any of the other candidates, and we started way back at 5:15, we had Jordan Rackler. We've had Jason Corley on the show. Kelly Hancock running for Texas Comptroller. And now we get to visit in a race for Justice of the Peace. Anah Menjares, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. It's great to have you. You're running for Justice of the Peace in the Republican primary.
Yes.
Tell folks, I guess first tell folks why you decided to run for this, why this office?
I almost don't like answering this question. And it just goes back to this. I didn't think about running for this. I've been so involved in the school issues with the books and the gender identification indoctrination. I've been so busy with that. Mm-hmm. Been to Austin to testify, but I had people reaching out to me. People were calling me and say, Anah, you need to run for Justice of the Peace for this precinct. This judge is doing this, and that. And if it's true, it's not mudslinging, but I'm just so not wanting to go there. And so that's why I don't like this question. But I will say this. I'm running to restore, and I mean restore, integrity, dignity, decorum, punctuality, and conservatism. You know, we hear a lot of people saying, well, I'm a conservative Christian. Well, explain to me what that really entails. What does that mean? You know, I feel that a lot of people use that very loosely. To me, a conservative Christian is someone that abides and lives their life according to the Bible. Call me old school, call me old fashioned, call me whatever. It doesn't matter to me. That's what, to me, a conservative Christian would be. I know there's a lot of controversy or disagreeing on separating the church from government or schools. You know, schools, when schools started, the Bible was part of that curriculum. And it was taken out, in 61, I believe, by Miss O'Hare, the most hated woman of America, in America. And so to me, this is why I'm running. We need to bring back integrity, moral and ethics that align with what the Word of God tells us. That's who I am. I live this way. I walk this way. I talk this way. Anybody that knows me will tell you this about me. I'm not a part-time believer. I'm not a part-time minister or chaplain. This is who I am. Even my kids at home will tell you that's who she is. Mm-hmm. You know, and I am old enough to know, Chad, that, you know what? I can't please everybody. Not everybody's going to like me. And you know what? I'm okay with it. That's okay. You can. You can do those things. But what matters is this. Let's save the children. I believe in keeping children innocent and naive as long as possible. When someone turns 18, they're on their own pretty much, right? We can't stop them. They're going to go do what they're going to do. But let's not indoctrinate the children. They're innocent. To me, it's like on Facebook, somebody had posted last year, in the middle of last year, they posted something about baby's first drag queen show. That set me off, and I went off on them.
Well, what does that have to do with Justice of the Peace, though?
What that has to do is that's who I am. I'm trying to bring back dignity, respect, justice, and fairness. That's what it has to do with it. I am that person. I live that way. That's what I'm trying to say. I live this way. I am a true conservative. I'm not going to be wishy-washy about this. And something else that makes me a good candidate for being a Justice of the Peace is this. Justice of the Peace are required to do certain things. Citations, truancies, evictions, small claims, among other things, right? And you don't have to be an attorney for this. I don't care if you've been an attorney 100 years, 30 years, 40 years. It doesn't matter. You get trained to apply certain laws to the things that you're going to be presiding over. There's training for that.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that part. So to me, when just JPs are performing marriages during the day, during county time, tax money time, they're performing marriages and pocketing that money. That money doesn't come to the court system. It stays in that JP's pocket. And they're performing marriages during the day. That's a big no-no for me. That's unacceptable. That's like you working your full-time job and doing your part-time job at the same time. That's not right. for one. To me, if you want to have that part-time job, do it after hours. Do it on your weekends, do it after hours, keep your money. But when you're doing it during county time, I have a problem with that. I also have a problem with term limits. I think if it's good enough for the president and now for others like congressmen or whoever, not that it's there yet, but it's going to be.
I don't know if it's going to be.
Well, maybe.
No one's going to vote themselves out of a job.
Well,
okay?
no, they're not. No, they're not. You're right, but maybe. But I see it coming sooner or later. It might be a thing. But I think it should be good enough for elected local officials as well.
So how long should you serve as
2
JP?
terms is good enough.
Yeah.
2 terms.
Okay. Oh, what experience do you think you bring to the JP court?
Well, I've been a realtor for 14, 15 years, so I'm good with evictions. I'm good with the law. I know how to read contracts, and time is of the essence. You know, you have to know the laws. As a realtor, you have to take continuing education, and a lot of that are legalities, legal things that we have to know. So I'm not new to the law. I know how to do that. So I bring that. I'm familiar with that. And as far as like truancies, I mean, I'm involved in the schools. I know what's happening there. I know how to deal with it. I do Christian counseling. I counsel people. I do prison ministry. I do counseling there. So what it entails to be a justice of the peace, the law's there. We're going to have to study the law. We're going to have to know how to apply it. But we have to step out of our emotions to apply that law. I can't go by if I look at you and I already don't like. That's not right. That's not fair. That's not justice.
Yeah.
I have to go by the law and strictly by the law and by the facts that are presented to me.
Let's say you've got let's go to the truancy issue because that's plaguing the schools really.
Yes.
They've got a lot of problems with it. How do you motivate someone, and we'll say high school because, you know, when you get into when you're junior high, elementary school, it's probably a lot more on the parents than it is, you know, sometimes in high school. How do you motivate that 16 and 17-year-old to actually, you know, go to school if they're skipping out, if they're not going to school? How do you motivate that person to go?
I think every case would be, of course, individual. So I would have to consider that one person that's in front of me at the time. I would have to look at the issues that's causing that. Is it lack of motivation? Does this kid need tutoring? You know, because are you getting bullied? Is it at home? I have to know what it is.
Yeah.
And then I have to look to the community for the resources that are available to utilize those, to know how to deal with this kid. So I think that would be crucial. Be familiar with what's in the community. And I think that's what sets me apart is that, you know what, for the last 8 or 10 years, I've been involved with the community. I know the resources available. I know the schools. I know how they're functioning. I have 3 kids in school right now that I'm raising, and so I'm involved. I know what's happening there. Is it a teacher? Because that's known to happen. I'm not saying every teacher's mean or bad or wrong, but there's sometimes conflicts with the student and teacher.
Right.
And we have to find out, would it work better if we move this kid to a different class? Would that help? Let's look at trying to save this kid and not just punishing them. These kids, by the time they get in front of a judge, they already know they're in trouble. And they're either so calloused that they don't care or they're afraid.
How do you motivate parents?
Parents?
Yeah.
Well, we have to apply the law. You know, I have to find out because I know parents that have dropped off their kids at the front door and the kids walk out the back door. How do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we deal with that? And that's where we come in and have to determine how can we help this kid? Why are you leaving? Who are you hanging around with? What's motivating you to do this, to rebel? Let's get to the source.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to punish them. Yes, I always tell my boys, you know what? Everything that you do has consequences. Your choices have consequences, good or bad. Whatever you do, there's consequences. Let's find out what's causing you to behave this way. And I'm not saying they're not doing this. I know that we're not there to be their counselor, but it is something I think is justice of the peace. Let's be that role model. Let's be that motivator. Let's get these kids on the right track. Or let's do the best that we can. We're going to win some and we're going to lose some. That's a fact.
Tell folks, do you have a website, Facebook page, anything where people can get more information about your campaign? We still got roughly an hour or so for people to early vote. And, of course, we have Election Day coming up on Tuesday.
Okay, so my number is 806-241-4558. My website is Vote Anah Menjares, VOTE, Vote Anah, ANAH, Menjares, MENJARES.
All right.
Vote Anah Menjares.
All right, Anna, good to see you.
Thank you.
And we wish you luck. And, of course, I'm sure we'll visit again down the road.
Yes, we will. Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. When we come back, your phone calls, your text, and we'll wrap up a Friday edition of the show.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune into News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo. News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene. And in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Pedal to the metal. Greased lightning. Burn rubber. Make tracks. Full gas. Whatever you call it, it's speeding. And a heavy foot can cost you a heavy fine. Or more. Speeding is a factor in more than 150,000 crashes every year in Texas, many of them fatal. Slow down, be safe, drive smart, and take it easy. A message from the Texas Department of Transportation.
When high winds and dangerous storms rock West Texas, stay ahead of the weather with the station you trust. Lubbock's official weather station, News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO.
Chad Hasty Show. Let's see. I got a text about their favorite part of that interview was, you don't have to be a lawyer to do this job, but I know the law too. Is it important? Is it not important? Anyway, 806-680-2790. Some text coming in. To hell with Cornyn and Paxton. I voted for Hunt. Almost said Trump there. Voted for Hunt from a texter. Another text coming in. Chad, have you ever seen an election in our area that is so consequential for Texas also or as well? Well, I think they're all consequential. I think they all matter. I think people are kind of getting tired of this is the most important election of our lifetime deal, because we keep saying that. Not that it's not true, but I think people are kind of about that comment, about that idea that this is the most important. But it is. I think every election is important. I've always believed that. We've got a fight on our hands, and it's not going to stop when Trump's out of office. When Trump's out of office, the left is going to come gunning for us, double, triple, quadruple down. They're going to come after us, folks. They're going to come after everything that Trump did, that he built up. They're going to go after the border. Again, that's why if you don't codify some of this stuff, and you just do it via executive order, if a Democrat wins the White House, which at some point, brace yourselves, at some point a Democrat will win the White House again. It's going to happen. they could reopen the border. There's a lot of stuff that the Democrats could do. They could continue to go after the Second Amendment. They could continue to go. They could pack the court. They could absolutely pack the court if they get enough votes. And it is going to be an anger that the Democrats have when they when they get back control of not only the House but the Senate, but the White House. If they ever get control of those three at the same time again, God help us. So, is it the most important election of our lifetime? Well, the next one probably will be. But this one's pretty important. Have we ever seen an election as consequential as this? I mean, yeah, you could probably argue that we have. But there's some really good names on the ballot. Texas voters on the Republican side have a very good opportunity of getting some new leadership in and or extending leadership if they want it. On the Democrat side, folks, the Democrats are fired up about James Tallarico. They're fired up about Jasmine Crockett, and they're going to spend a lot of money. And I don't care who they face in the Republican or in the general election, whether it's John Cornyn or Ken Paxton or Wesley Hunt, they're still going to drop a lot of money because they're going to think Texas is going to turn blue. Now, I don't believe that Texas is close to turning blue. I don't believe that. But I do think that Republicans have to look around and go, okay, enthusiasm right now it's with the Democrats. Again, it's a midterm election. Things are going to change by the time the November election rolls around. This is a primary election. By the time the November election rolls around, things are going to feel differently. Voters have very important decisions to make up and down the ballot. They have very important decisions to make. And that's why I say I'm glad not everyone voted on day one. I'm glad people are taking their times to get out, do their research, listen to interviews, listen to the podcasts that we've had. Go back through and look at some of those judge races, those judicial races that are way at the bottom of the ballot. And you go, who's that? I think I recognize that name. I'll vote for that person. That happens a lot. So do your homework this weekend. And join us next week as we continue following the primary elections here on the Chad Hasty Show. May God bless you all.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station's staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.